Hello, I'm Erwin Wu from the Tokyo Institute of Technology. Today we will discuss about visual augmentation for alpine ski training in virtual reality. Before we start, I'd like to appreciate the co-authors for their contributions and the JSD Crest for their financial support. As we may know, skiing has been a popular winter sport. Well, maybe not for this year due to the pandemic condition. However, it means that skiing has a strong environmental dependencies. The 3S, snow, slope, and the skis are required for skiing. On the other hand, teaching ski is very difficult because the learner cannot simply copy the teacher's movement from behind. What's more, different from other sports, we can hardly observe ourselves' motion since we have to concentrate to the front while skiing. As a result, an instructor has to tell the learner directly how to correct the forms, which makes the adoption cycle of learning skiing indirect and slow. Therefore, some simulators were developed for indoor ski training, which can be roughly divided into two types: motor-based motion simulators or large-scale slope simulators. However, even the simulator can perform like real ski. Learning ski still requires more visual cues, such as a leading skier in front to tell you what to do. So find out how to provide helpful visual instruction on simulator is our goal for this work. For visual augmentation, mixed reality is proved to be one of the most suitable solutions, which is already applied to other sports. One most important reason is that putting a head-mounted display is more natural in skiing, because the athletes always have to wear goggles. Also, for similar reason, we could put more fabric technologies such as the motion capture or trackers on user's body. At last, obviously, VR can provide a better 3D perception for an immersive experience. While using ski simulators and VR can solve the problem of environmental dependencies. However, as mentioned before, skiing is still very difficult to master due to the lack of intuitive teaching method. Under this situation, our approach is to capture the motion of an expert and use some additional visual cues to support the VR ski training. Again, to conclude, in this study, we want to introduce different visualization of a captured leading skier for VR ski training, and study their effect both quantitatively and qualitatively. As a first step, we need to collect the data from expert skier. We recorded the motion of two former World Cup athletes on a Skytech ski simulator using 8 OptiTrack mocap cameras. Just to notice, the simulator we used here for data collection is a high-end motor-based simulator, which is different from the one we used in the prototype implementation and the study. This figure shows our hardware design. We used a Pro Ski Power Simulator, which is a rubber-based motion simulator, which only have 3 degrees of freedom as shown in the figure. We didn't use the motor-based simulator in this study for safety reasons, but the visualization method itself can be applied to any types of ski simulator. Hereby we can see the overall workflow of the system. We used an HTC Vive Pro as the VR HMD, and 2 Vive trackers are attached on the skis to track the rotation and position for controlling the skis in VR. The user will follow the expert avatar in a virtual slope and try to mimic its motion. Based on the rotation and position, different visual cues are designed to show on the HMD. Till here, we explained why helpful visualization is required for VR skiing. So the next question is, what kind of visualization should we present? Shall we show as much information as possible, or just simply render the motion of the leading skier? To find out the answer, a prototype system with 3 different visual cues was first demonstrated on a VR conference to 82 participants. All the participants experienced 3 initial visualization methods and answered a questionnaire about their feelings. The first follow the pro condition is just rendering the leading skier in front of the user with a specific distance. The second visual cues are 2 wave charts showing the ankle rotation of both feet of the user and the expert. And the last one is the pose breakdown, which renders aftergoes like temporal motion of the leading skier. From the questionnaire result of the pilot study, we can conclude the most major opinions as follows. Above all, most of the participants agree that the captured leading skier could provide an optimal motion to refer. Graphs showing anchor rotations have some effect on helping users to understand the difference between themselves and the expert, but it is too informative and therefore hard to understand. The pose breakdown, on the other hand, is helpful for the user to recognize the lateral movement of the experts, while the aftergoes itself is annoying for some users. At last, 30 participants suggest that they hope to see a more intuitive visual cues, such as a trail in real skiing. Based on the pilot study, 3 new visual cues together with the improved version of the old one are designed. First, an alternative version of the pose breakdown is to place the aftergoes on the ground to make it a shadow-like rendering, as shown in Figure 4, which aims to reduce the disturbing of the aftergoes. Also, according to some opinions that the pose itself is too invasive, we designed a ribbon-like 3D trail function, the Figure 5, which is a more natural solution to show both the temporal position of the expert, also the rotation of the feet. And, since the graph condition was complained too informative to understand, we also simply make the trail condition to be colored according to the difference of anchor rotation between the user and the expert, aiming to provide a more intuitive feedback, as shown in Figure 6. Using all 6 conditions, we performed a quantitative evaluation to answer the following research question. First one, what visual cues improves the performance most? And second one, what is the effect of feedback on performance? In total, 14 participants are recruited and tested on all 6 conditions, plus a base condition. To reduce the learning effect, we also shuffle the order of the test for counterbalance. These 2 figures shows the result of mean error from 2 different perspectives, the anchor rotation and the lateral movement for each condition. From both results, we can observe that the trail condition without the color feedback improved the performance most, with a mean error of less than 25 degrees and 45 centimeters, respectively. For the runner-up, the result is controversy. While the shadow condition performs slightly better than the colored trail condition in anchor rotation, and it becomes the opposite in lateral movement. Nevertheless, together with the best trail condition, the 3 new conditions shows an obvious improvement than the 3 old conditions, with an average 5-degree decrease in anchor rotation error and 10 cm decrease in lateral movement error. In the 2 conditions with feedback, we were surprised that the feedback does not show obvious effect on improving performance. The average result of the graph is even worse than the base condition. Although the colored trail performs better than the graph, we still cannot say it is significantly better than the base condition. As a qualitative study, we asked the users the following 5 questions in 6-point Likert scale to find out whether the visualization and the UI information is easy to understand. The overall qualitative results shows that the 2 trail condition is the easiest for the user to understand, while the shadow condition get the best overall impression. Since the time is limited, please refer our paper for detailed analysis. So let's summarize the result. The whole study proved that providing visual cues to the user will lead to a better VR ski performance, while the trail visualization shows the most promising result in both anchor rotation and lateral movement. Lastly, which quite surprised us, the evaluation also indicates that providing feedback during the practice is not necessarily improving the performance of the user. This is the last slide, which shows our future work. We want to do full body tracking as well as real-world evaluation to show more potential of the system. Also, some temporal changes such as slow motion should also benefit the system. Last but not least, we hope the user could gain more freedom of controlling themselves just as real skiing instead of simple mimicking. Okay, that's all for the presentation. Thank you and feel free to contact me for any question.